We are live. All right. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's take a look here. Before I begin, honey, don't pay attention to the screen. It's always. And we are live.
There we say hello. Hello.
All right. Looks like we already have Samson Farms with us. Welcome. And Deborah E.
Hey.
Deborah E is with us. I think I need to mute my sound up here so we don't have that coming through. Okay. Sometimes I try to put some forethought into the live show and pick some topics or things to talk about. But we're just going to talk about life this week. Let's talk about different things. Just basically whatever comes up.
Got my rug done.
Get your rug done?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to go get it? Maybe we can show them. Oh, you brought it. Whoa, look at that thing. That thing's huge. Look at that. Let's stretch it sideways. That is pretty big.
Yep, got it done.
That is a nice rug. Yes, my wife, she does what's called toothbrush rugs. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically it's called a toothbrush rug because typically you will use a toothbrush and turn that into your sewing needle or your weaving shuttle, however way you want to call it. And she will weave the rugs together using that type of utensil. Although she doesn't use a toothbrush. You use a survival plastic spoon.
Mm-hmm.
From
a hiker spoon.
A hiker spoon is what she uses. Okay. So we have...
It is very hefty.
Yeah, we got Bombs to Bushels Homestead. Welcome. All right. Yeah, and they are very hefty because basically she takes old sheets and she will rip them into long strips and then fold them in half and iron them flat and then weave them together. So basically each strand is doubled up. Think of it that way. So it makes it very hefty. We've got one in the bathroom that we've had since we've been married. So it's.
I had it a couple years before we got even married.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you made it right before we got married.
No.
So you already had it.
Yeah, we had it at least 1 year, maybe 2.
Okay, so it's about good 6 or 7 years old then, right? And it still holds up really nice.
Just throw it in the washer, lay it out flat to dry.
So, yeah, it's really, really nice. All right. Welcome to Pemberley Farm Homestead and True Light Naturals. Welcome.
Hello.
Also, welcome Soul Yates. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome.
Have any? These are all new subscribers. So.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting. It's not like we didn't notice. But we did actually break the 500 subscriber mark, which is really exciting. And we didn't do any videos on it or anything like that. But we did do it, what was it, last week?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're up to 520 something, right?
25 or 26, I can't remember.
Right, I can't either off the top of my head. It's 500 and something, all right? So 500 and something is pretty good for us. So we're really excited about that. And we got like over 100 subscribers basically this past 28 days. So that right there is really telling me a lot. So we must be doing a few things right.
Thank you.
Yes, and we want to thank you because we can't get to subscribers without your help.
Nope.
So it's whenever you watch our videos and click on like and type in the comments. And even if you wanted to share some of the videos to your Facebook or any of your social media, that helps us too. So anything that helps more people to watch them. And we realize that our videos have to have some content, so we try to make them as enjoyable and as informative as we can.
Someone asked if I sell the rugs.
Yes.
An interesting question.
Yes, she does sell the rugs, but usually...
that one's for sale.
Right, that one's for sale. And I'll just put it out there. If you want to buy this rug, you can contact us. But it's $100 plus the shipping and handling.
It's a 4 foot, almost 4 foot long by.
Yeah, you can bring it back out again. We can keep
It's 30
showing it.
inches wide by 44 inches long.
It's 4 foot long. Okay,
Just about.
it's a big 4 foot long rug, and I know it might seem like, oh, that seems like a lot of money, but it's a handmade, crafted rug. All right, you're not going to get a rug like that at your big box stores. You're just not going to get it. I don't care what big box store you go to. Everything they sell is made by machines or in some sweatshop somewhere. This was made here in this country, handmade, and it's that's the reason for the price. And it takes a long time. How long did it take you to make that?
That one took me.
A little bit over 2 weeks, right?
No.
Two and a half weeks?
It probably took me about 3, almost 4 weeks.
Almost a month, okay? So you got to put it this way. You tell me, would you work for 1 month for $100? Can you live on that? Of course not. So it's not as high price as you might think. Actually, $100 for 4 weeks of work is pretty cheap, if you ask me.
Stivers are here. Hey.
Oh, hey, welcome Stivers Homestead. Also, I've got Cara.
Oh, 2 wild onions. Hello.
Yep, Cara's with us. And, yep, 2 Wild Onions Homestead. All right, welcome. So, I mean, if you're interested in the rug, that's what it is, $100 plus shipping and handling. And that really would help us out a lot. And it's a rug that will last you a really long time. And I got to kind of be honest with you. My wife didn't really want to sell it. Actually, when she made that rug, we were originally making that rug for ourselves.
It was for my kitchen.
Right, so.
It's okay, though.
That was a rug that she wanted to keep, but we kind of need the money, so we're selling it. So now she can make rugs.
Make another one.
She can also make rugs. If you want a different rug, like say if that's too much of a rug for you,
or different colors,
right? Different colors or whatever. She can make smaller rugs. There's probably a good, what is it? It'll take you about 2 or 3 times longer between the 2 foot rug and the 4 foot rug. That last 2 feet takes you about maybe 3 times longer or something like that?
Maybe not quite that much, but it takes a lot longer.
So a 2 foot rug would probably get done in, a week and a half maybe?
Yeah. Oh, easy.
Right. So the difference between a 2 foot rug and a 4 foot rug is about, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
That's about the difference.
Well, the bigger it is, the longer it takes you to get around. Go around to add that extra. And every time you go around is 1 more inch.
It's a bigger oval every time you go.
So to get another inch onto the rug, a full inch, it takes you have to go completely around. So each side is a half an inch. So to get a full, so the bigger it is, the longer it takes to get around it, so the longer it takes.
Right. So we could probably have her make smaller rugs. Would take her less time, and of course it would cost less. And also they make really good, really small ones that she can make about this big, and they make really good. What are those called?
Hot pads.
Hot pads for your hot pots
for your tables and
in your kitchen. So they make really good hot pads because of how thick they are. If you put your hot boiling pot on top of one of the hot pads, it puts some distance off the table and keeps from scorching your table.
I just lay it out and it lays nice and flat. Sometimes crocheted rugs you have to push them into place and they don't lay as flat. I'm not trying to knock crochet. They're both different. They both have their strengths.
Just a different style.
It's just different.
All right. Yeah, it says Soul Yates says that his grandmother has some, and they're super old too. They really hold up well. Yes,
yeah,
they
really do. They do. My 5-year-old one, I just throw it in the washer. Now it's reversible. I can let it. I use it on the one side, all nice and fluffy again, all really nice. I like them.
Another thing too is if we have her make the little hot pads because of how small they are, she can make those a lot more of those a lot faster. So those are probably the cheapest things of all, I think, pots and stuff. So they're really well made.
Saying hi to everyone, and it's actually, doesn't it feel good when someone recognizes when you come into a chat and everyone says hello to you? I mean, it just really, it's nice. It's, like, oh, they know I'm in here.
Looks like Broussard Homestead is with us today.
Hello.
All right, welcome. All right. So that's
really usually the one on the chats. He's usually not able to get into, sometimes you do.
Yeah, it depends if I have topics in my mind I'm trying to keep to.
The live chat. No, no, I mean the live chats where we go and visit other.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we kind of we have it figured out to where I can look at a live chat and she can look at a different live chat at the same time, and it makes it look like micro farm starters in two different places at once. But technically, both of us are micro farm starters, so.
But usually it's me commenting, especially during the day. He's at work, so if it's during the day, it's usually me commenting.
Right. All right. Yeah, Browncoat Homestead, welcome.
Oh, he's working
right.
Hey, Brizard. He's watching from work at
the firehouse. All right.
Oh, hey.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, so let me see. What else could we talk about besides the rug? Now, the good thing I want to say about the rug is it might seem like, well, what does the rug have to do with homesteading? So that's a good topic, right? Well, what it has to do with homesteading isn't just gardening and raising animals. It's about doing some things that take care of yourself. So any kind of homemade craft, anything that you can create yourself instead of having to buy it at the store, instead of having to go to the industrial complex to get it, then that would qualify as homesteading. So making your own rugs, making your own clothing, doing things like this. This is all considered to be homesteading.
And the rugs are made out of just...
The price of the rugs is not based on the materials. It's based on the time and the effort. That's what it's based on, time and effort.
Well, I do buy some quilting fabric to add to them, to add color to them. It's not all sheets. I buy
So there
fabric.
are some things that you purchase.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I do buy sheets. I have fabric to add to it.
So, and it's not something that you could ever really do to, get rich quick or anything like that. Really, if you think about how long it takes to make these things and what you get out of them, you make a lot more.
Book and they'll crochet it. These ones are actually woven. With a needle. They would take toothbrushes.
Yeah, we can have you explain that whenever you do a video on it.
Yeah, I'm going to do a video on it. We're planning to do it very soon.
So we don't want to put too much information here because when you make a special video on it, everything can be more organized.
Yeah,
and make
more
a lot
detail.
More detail to make more sense. But, going back on what I was saying is that when you're doing a homestead and you're doing these things, it's about doing things yourself as much as possible and not having to rely upon the system as much. So I would say that. I would not say that we're trying to be like completely, self-sufficient, self-sustainable. I don't believe we'll ever get there, but we're just looking to increase our self-dependence a little bit, trying to increase that a little bit. So, but in the process, whenever you make it yourself, generally you'll put a lot more time, effort, and quality into that product because you made it than what you would get at a store. So I just want to put that in there. And also I wanted to say another thing about it, but it kind of slipped my mind.
I'm sorry, dear.
Right, I'm trying to keep my thoughts together on it. But yeah, it's just, about the cost to make it. Making $100 over the span of 4 weeks, you're not going to get rich off that. You're not even going to be able to pay your bills on that. So what my wife, she doesn't do it for the money. It's something that at the end of the day, whenever we're sitting together and we're spending time, just sitting together, relaxing, she likes to, do toothbrush rugs while we're watching YouTube.
That and knitting. I like knitting too. Yep.
Yeah. So whenever we're watching YouTube or watching other homesteading channels and stuff like that, she'll be working on a toothbrush rug or knitting something. So it's very enjoyable for her to do. So that's probably one of the main reasons why she does it.
True Light Naturals. Yes, they are Scandinavian toothbrush rugs. And the one that I learned how to do, there are a couple different ways people do them. But I bought a book on eBay a long time ago. And so, yeah, they're Scandinavian toothbrush rugs.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so Windmill Farm, welcome.
Hey.
All right. And so that's just one of the things I wanted to cover is just, about the toothbrush rugs. And like I said, that one that we pictured there, it is for sale. So you can contact me let us know, and we'll work something out. Probably the best way to contact me is on Facebook. I do have a Facebook page, and Micro Farm Starter is on Facebook. So you can go on that page, you can find it and like it, and make comments on that wall and stuff, and just let me know either that way,
smaller.
or you can send me private messaging through Facebook and contact me that way as well. And my name on Facebook is Tracy Bays. That's TracyBays. And you can check that out on Facebook and just contact me, and we can figure something out on that. Okay, so another thing we wanted to kind of touch on a little bit is, I know we talk about it probably a lot more here lately, but it's because we're really getting close, is selling our house. We are really getting close. I think we're coming down to the wire. Right now, we are in the stage where they are going to do a title search on our property just to make sure that there aren't any liens against the property. And it's something that the bank will always do before they do any kind of financing. And they do it to protect themselves, right? And if there's anything that pops up, then the seller has to take care of that. But we know that there's nothing on there. The only lien against our property is the lien that we have against it, because we have it under mortgage right now. So once they get that process done, then we will finally have a closing date. And for what I understand is, once the title search is done, then it's 2 weeks after that we close. So, and we've been in the same deal. We've been in the same deal since the second week of December. So
Has it been that long?
Yeah. From the second week of December all the way up to, I guess it's April now, right? And it'll be almost May by the time we close. So I don't know if you've ever sold a house, but normally it doesn't take that long.
No, it doesn't.
But as long as we get to the end, as long as we make it across that finish line, then I'll be satisfied with that.
Houses are not moving quickly around here.
Right.
They're just not. We have a friend that their house has been on the market for over a year now.
Right.
And so just to have a buyer and to be glad that it's selling, I'm willing to jump through the hoops and wait upon it.
Right.
I really am. I believe it's the Lord working it out anyways.
Oh yeah. All right.
Oh, someone asked if we're moving.
Well,
wild onions.
We don't know yet. Right now, we're just going to stay here where we're at. We have 2 properties. So the property we are on right now, it's 1 acre. It's a mobile home, and it's in a small rural town. You can hear cows mooing in the distance. So it's about as close as being out in the country as you can get. It's really not, I wouldn't really call it in town, even though we're right next door to a gas station, but you really wouldn't know it.
You blink your eyes and you're through town, basically. Those
Right.
kind of.
So it's we got trees along that creek that's right there, and it gives us a lot of privacy as far as that goes. And it's 1 acre, and it's flat ground. So 1 acre of flat ground, you can actually do quite a bit with that, which is hence the micro farm or small farm. So we're going to stay here for a while. We are considering moving, but we don't have anything concrete on that right now. So we're going to wait until we get some things taken care of. And once things are taken care of, we know that we will be eventually moving, but it might not be until next year, as far as I know.
We're just getting things in order, getting ourselves
Right.
ready. Also trying to get a lot of our finances in order.
Yeah, we have to do some financial recovery before we start thinking about making another move. But really, these moves that we've been making, I think I mentioned this last time, is 5 years ago, I was living out of my RV in someone's driveway about 5 years ago. Now I've got 2 properties. Once I sell one property, the property that we're on right now, the 1 acre that we're living on right now, will be owned free and clear.
It's
No
ours.
mortgage. It's
mortgage.
ours.
It's ours.
It belongs to us. So no mortgage on this place here. So to go from living in an RV in someone's driveway, and I think this is probably before it was even cool on YouTube to do that, right? I don't think there was a whole lot of people doing the whole thing back then. It was like a really cool thing. It wasn't as cool as it is nowadays. Everybody's, oh, how cool it is to be in an RV in the parking lot or on someone's driveway, whatever. But I was doing that 5 years ago, and I went from that to this in 5 years. I think that's pretty miraculous.
Thank you, Samson Farms, for telling them that we live in Kentucky. Bizarre, but
Yep. Yeah, we are in South Central Kentucky. Is where we're at.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah,
we like it here. I love the people, and it's a quiet little place. I really do. But yeah.
Yeah, we're about half an hour from the border of Tennessee.
Very smart. Thank you for True Light Naturals. Yeah, we've been trying to think it through. We've been really trying to not rush, and my husband's trying to just think it out.
And it's all about value adding. I mean, when you make big moves like this, you don't want to lose ground. You want to gain ground. And that's the whole point of doing any kind of things like that. We don't desire to move, right? But I think I might have said this in Unboxing Our Life video. And if you want to go ahead and check out that video, get the full story on that. But we actually moved, I think, 5, maybe 6 times in 1 year.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, honey. It was a lot in 1 year.
What,
at least
2015? I was going to say 3
it was
or
at least
4.
that was at least 5 times in 1 year. It's hard for her to remember that, but we lived at some place for just 2 months, and then we lived somewhere else for like 6 or 7 months. We moved somewhere else, and we moved somewhere else. Like boom, 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 boom. By the time I finally got financially recovered from the past move, we had to move again. And then I get financially recovered from the last move, we move again. And all this hopping around and moving and everything has amounted to where we're at right now.
When you're renting, sometimes those things can happen.
So it all, the Lord was leading us in all of those moves. And, like I said, now we're going to have a property where we own it. We own all of it. And I'm not going to say it's free and clear because there was a lot of work involved in getting to this point. So I'm not going to say that. But, definitely I believe the Lord has been blessing us on that. So that's really good.
Yeah, it does cost a lot to move. I mean, people don't realize how much the van and the miles and when you rent a U-Haul van.
Yeah, especially if you move to another state, you get like this big U-Haul truck and you go to another state. They charge you a lot more for going to another state because they know that truck's not coming back to the rental place. So they have to get another truck from somewhere else. So they charge you extra for that. And they charge you by the mile and everything else. It can really rack up pretty good. So
then it was also when we were renting, you had to pay first month's rent,
yeah. If you rent, a lot of times you have to do first and last month's rent and all that stuff.
And all that kind of stuff that adds up too.
Right. But usually if you do like a 2-year lease, a lot of people it's renting, they already know this. If you do a 2-year lease somewhere, generally you don't have to pay last month's rent. Usually it's just first month's rent and deposit, and then you move in and you sign up for a 2-year lease and you're locked in for 2 years. Generally, that's what happens. But if we do end up renting a place wherever we go to until we find a place to buy, that is a strategy we may consider. And if we do that, we were only going to be doing a month-to-month. Now, when you do a month-to-month rental, generally they do want first and last month's rent because it is month-to-month. So generally, that is what they want for such short term. So that's why that comes into a factor.
Yeah, the fuel is a killer, Samson Farm.
Yep, fuel, yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up briefly, I don't know how long we're going to talk about this, but the email we've got from the Homesteaders of America, they sent us emails, and we got an email saying that Nebraska has been underwater. There's a big flood out in Nebraska.
We don't watch TV that much or news, so we didn't really know much about it.
Yeah, we don't have cable TV. We don't have it. We get all of our news through the internet. But anyway, that's a side point. But all underwater, and it's cattle ranchers have lost like over 1 million cattle, and that is tremendous. I can only imagine what that's going to do to the price of beef in the stores.
Very sad.
And you got to think about there's a lot of beef products in the stores, a lot. So that's going to affect a lot of groceries at the store. Not to mention all the grains that were lost. So the cost of bread and everything that uses grains and corn and stuff like that, that's going to suffer and all that. So I would imagine that the prices at the store
wow.
are going to skyrocket.
They said Missouri and Mississippi River flooding bad. Wow.
Right. So there's a lot of flooding.
There's no flooding over here at the moment.
And, if you know anything about the way things work in this world, the people who are making the money, they always make the farmer suffer and the consumer suffers, but the people running the business, they do not suffer. Yeah. So whenever you have a natural catastrophe that happens like this, that translates to higher prices in the store. It's just a matter of time.
Two Wild Onions said grains, flour, feeds will go up. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about it this morning, that all that stuff will probably be going up soon. Oh,
yeah. And that's also chicken feed. So your chicken feed, your other livestock feeds that you buy at the feed store, that's going to be affected also. And you might think, well, I get my feed from places that are not from those areas. Well, because there's nothing coming from those areas, everyone else has got it's called rarity. So the people who were not hit by this flood and they have stuff that they're delivering to market, they know that it's rare and they're going to ask for higher prices for it. Guaranteed. And also because it's rare and the demand is so much higher with that big void that was producing is not producing right now. So now they have to fill that void with the demand from everyone else. Trust me, all the prices are going to go up. All of them are going to go up.
I'm not looking forward to that.
So.
Wait, what happened? What did I miss?
Oh, we're talking about the flooding in Nebraska. And also
the
some parts
Mississippi
of
River is flooding.
Parts of Missouri. And all the losses that the farmers have suffered. And even though they're industrial farmers, and I understand we don't agree a lot of times with industrial farming, but it does affect what happens at the store. Even at the places like Whole Foods and places like that, I would even see their prices going up. Even if their products are not coming from that area, once the demand starts shifting their direction, the prices are going to go up. I'm just telling you. The prices are going to go up. I'm not going to say that it's not prophetic or anything like that. It's knowing how the world works, right? That's all it is. Just knowing, if something happens, there has to be a balance and a shift to take care of any kind of offset in a system.
I saw on Facebook that Kansas had a convoy of trucks taking hay and fencing and a whole bunch of things for the cattle ranchers.
Right, to help the ranchers out. Right.
To save what is left of their cattle.
And you got to think another thing. This is another thing that was brought up in that email from the Homesteaders of America that sent us an email on this, is that the flooding itself is going to destroy the ground. It's going to destroy the ground. Their topsoil could either be lost or covered up with sand and silt and all kinds of other stuff.
Yep.
All kinds of garbage that floats around in the flood. All of that's going to damage and contaminate the ground.
Oh, yeah. Contamination of
right.
Gasoline stations and things
right.
leaking into the water itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's only going to be so many farmers out there that are going to be able to recover from this. I would say that a lot of the farmers out there are going to buckle under and fall down because they're not going to be able to recover and to fix the damage that's been done.
I hope not.
Well, I'm just telling you, that's just the reality of the situation. I don't like to be doom and gloom about stuff like this, but I believe it's a serious situation. So
I try to look on the bright side of things,
right.
and he tries to see things as they are.
Right. You have to be realistic, But now I'm not saying this is going to be like some cataclysmic thing that's going to change everything, but you're going to notice a difference, just
in
like
your wallet.
Yeah, just like whenever we had trouble with the oil fields and the truck drivers having to pay higher prices for gas. And I don't know if you really remember this or not, but all of the prices at the grocery store, they all went up, right? Now, they've been high for ever since then. They've never gone back down. So now we think, well, that's just the normal prices of these things now. Well, there was a time when food at the grocery store was very cheap. Those times are over, right? They used the crisis, the oil crisis was used to raise the prices up at the stores. So what do you think this is going to do? What do you think this is going to do? Probably about the same thing. They're going to rise it up, and then after like 3 or 4 years, when everything's recovered and everything's fixed, do you think they're going to put the prices back down? I don't think so. I think as long as people are shelling out the cash, they're going to keep asking for it. So it's one of those things that's going to be affecting us for quite a while, I think. That's just my opinion.
Two Wild Onions said they were dairy farmers and could not make it at 99% cents a gallon at Walmart.
Right.
It's hard.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I'd say so. And yeah, it's really hard. And plus with all the regulations they put on dairy farmers, especially if they want to not pasteurize their milk, it's they've made it pretty much illegal. And I've read articles myself where dairy farms were assaulted by SWAT teams because they were selling milk that was not pasteurized. So there are things like that have taken place, that really have happened. Now we were buying our milk non-pasteurized from a local farmer, but we just couldn't afford it anymore. It was just
how much a gallon?
Well, it's actually pretty cheap. Getting raw milk for $7 a gallon.
A gallon.
That's pretty cheap. I know that down in the Atlanta area, it goes for like $10 a gallon down there.
We have friends in Atlanta.
Right. So $7 a gallon is not bad for raw milk. And we were happy to pay it whenever we had the money because we like raw milk better.
Way.
Because we know what the pasteurization does to the milk. And it turns healthy milk into basically unhealthy milk.
My belly can
in
handle
our opinion,
it better.
Yeah, in our opinion, we don't think it's healthy when they pasteurize it.
Oh, yeah.
But leaving all the enzymes in it intact, all the natural vitamins intact, not having to add the petroleum-based vitamin D that they put in the milk at the store, it's a whole different product than the milk they sell at the store. So we fully believe in raw milk. And the person we bought it off of, we did what's called a milk share.
And it was legal.
Yeah, it's legal. It's called a milk share. And we buy a share in the cow. And then we pay money to them. And that money helps them to take care of the farm and take care of themselves. And then they give us the milk. But we had a milk share, but we just couldn't afford to keep the milk share going. So we had to let it go. And that's just the way it goes.
Oh. Karen Cantrell wants to know if we're still going to be able to make it to the seed swap.
Yes, we are hoping.
I'm excited.
We are hoping, and that's on the 14th of April, I believe.
Yes, you just said 14th
right? 14th
of April.
See, I remembered. I didn't read it. But yeah, we're still hoping. It's only like a couple hours away from here. So as far as events, it's probably one of the closest events we can get to.
Karen, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Karen, if I don't see you or recognize you, please come say hi to me.
All right.
Yeah.
And there's also another event coming up. I can't remember the exact date. I think it's in May. I think it's after Baker Creek. And it's in Cookeville, Tennessee. And I believe it's called the Appalachia Homesteading Conference.
Yeah.
Appalachian Homesteading Conference.
We just found out about it.
Cookeville, Tennessee. That's about an hour and a half from where we live.
We didn't even know it.
Right. So that's within driving distance with us. And if you are a veteran, or if you're active duty military, you get in free. Of course, your family members still have to pay to get in. But you yourself, if you can show your DD 214 or your military ID, then you can get in free. And it's pretty good. So I'm actually a veteran. I was in the Marine Corps. So I'm going to take my DD 214 and I'm going to get in free. Then I will pay for my wife. And we're going to also be going to that conference as well. It's only an hour and a half away from us.
They want to know if we're going to be at the Homesteaders of America conference.
I think, wait a second, before we get on to that, the
sorry.
Appalachian Homesteading Conference is run by, was it Petra?
No, not Petra.
What's her name?
Oh,
I'm about to look it up now.
Her YouTube channel is Appalachian Homestead, I believe. Petra, no.
Yeah, Patera.
Patera, that's it. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Patera.
Patera, that's it. I know I heard that she had been doing it for several years.
Right. And let me kind of fix everybody up here.
Kind of heard about it last year.
All right. I just put a link in the chat.
Patera, yeah.
So you click on that link, it takes you right there to all about the event. It's called the Great Appalachian Homestead Conference.
Okay.
It's May 25th. It's on a Saturday, which makes it easier for us. It's always easier for us to do things on Saturday. And the tickets are only as much as $31.50. You know, depending on what age bracket you fall in. So $31.50 is not bad. It looks like a good conference. So we're looking forward to it. And it's in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Which isn't very far from us.
Mm-hmm. And it's all indoors. It's at a place called the Heidelberg's Agricultural Pavilion is where it's going to be. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that conference as well. It's close to where we live.
Pratt Family Homestead's going to be there.
That's right.
Yep.
The Pratt Family Homestead is going to give a talk at this conference. So, and there's also some other really good speakers there. It looks like it's definitely worth going to. So, all right. True Light Naturals has some friends from Cookeville. Well, there you go. If you go to the conference, you got some people you can stay with. That's really nice. All right. And I think Sampson Farms is down there in Tennessee. Maybe we'll see him. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if
he said he's not very far from Kentucky. That's why he mentioned that earlier.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You did say that, right? I thought I read that.
Right. But I can't speak for Sampson Farms. I don't know what he's got planned. I'm just throwing that out there. All right.
We might get to go to that one. And
right. Definitely the HOA, yeah.
Okay, the HOA.
Yeah, now we can talk about the HOA, okay? Yeah, we're planning on going to that one as well. Last year we were a vendor. This year we're going to go as ticket buyers.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're not going to go as vendors this year. Although we've already committed to be vendors at the Homesteading Life Conference for Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. We will be vendors for that conference, only because we've already promised to do that. And the main reason why we were vendors last year is because we were trying to pay for our experience, and we had to work our way through it. So that's the only reason why we were able to do that. Is the money that my wife made doing the balloons and face paint helped to pay for our trip out there and our bed and breakfast stay and all of that. And I think we pretty much broke even on that trip, which was outstanding. That was really great.
Hello, Busy Little House. I love that name. That's a really cute name.
Ah, someone recognized us now from the face painting, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
You were at that conference?
Maybe they saw some videos too. There's been a lot of Homesteading America videos. And yeah, we met a lot of really great people at the Homesteaders of America conference. We met Luke from M.I. Gardner. He was very nice to talk with.
Very nice. His daughter was precious to paint.
And we talked about all kinds of things, about growing stuff. And actually, me and Luke, whenever we were talking, we were just talking about the difference between winter culture. And if you know what I'm talking about, if you live up north, like say in Michigan or in Wisconsin or Montana or Minnesota, and those northern states up close to Canada, then you live in what's called, what I call a winter culture, where your winters are really harsh and really long, and it's a different culture than the rest of the country. It really is. And we were talking about things about that, and it's pretty interesting to talk about
True Light Naturals, yes, the conference, Doug and Stacy's conference, the Homesteaders Life Conference is in Hannibal, Missouri.
Yeah, I think we're mixing topics here. We were talking about the Homesteaders of America conference.
She just asked the question. I'm sorry. I just
But
wanted to answer.
we can talk about that one next. I just don't want to
get confused.
If you talk about two conferences at the exact same time, then people don't know what you're talking about.
We'll get confused. Sorry.
Right. So yeah, we met M.I. Gardner there. We met Justin Rhodes. Well, I met Justin Rhodes there. We briefly talked to Rebecca Rhodes as well. Not very long, but we talked to her briefly. I met Jason from Sow the Land. I didn't really meet Joe Salatin. I didn't want to bug him or talk to him. He had 2 or 3 people talking to him, but I saw Joe Salatin there, so that was kind of interesting. I got to hear some of his talk, and that kind of brings me back to the reason why we're not going to be vendors this year, or this next year for the Homesteaders of America, is that whenever you're a vendor, you really can't enjoy the conference as much as if you're just going, because you're having to watch your booth, having to make money, and having to be kind of business minded. So it's kind of hard to break away to actually enjoy it, and we did enjoy it to some degree.
He got to break away
a lot
to
more.
enjoy it. I got to break away just for like one talk. It was when everybody was together.
Yeah, the together talk, right?
At the very end on Sunday. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, it was nice getting to paint the children. I love that.
You got to meet Bandana Grandma.
Yep.
So that was nice, and
I got to meet Bandana Grandma.
That's someone you wanted to meet. Well,
yeah, I really liked her. She's very, very sweet, very nice.
Right. So yeah, I think this next time around we're gonna just go.
Rebecca Rhodes, I met.
Right, we already said
I
that.
didn't hear you say it. Sorry.
Yeah, I already mentioned that.
I was probably reading.
Yeah, you're reading that. So I mean, Homesteaders America. I mean, if you're gonna go to any homesteading conference, if you want to go to the best one, I'd say that is the best one. I'd say that the best one is that one. Now we could talk about the Homesteaders Homesteading Life Conference in Hannibal, Missouri. And if that
was in August.
A little bit about history. Mark Twain is a American author, and I guess that's his hometown, right? Hannibal, Missouri.
Yeah, that's where he grew up.
That's where he grew up, is in Hannibal, Missouri. There is a historic nature about the place. Actually, the conference is a place called Star Theater, which is an old theater, a really old theater down in the old part of town in Hannibal. And as far as I understand, they've been doing renovations to that place. So this next year, the conference should be better. There should be a larger area indoors this year.
Mm-hmm. And if you do go, make sure you get your tickets for the paddle boat dinner ride.
Yeah, steamboat.
On the river, on the Mississippi.
Right.
We missed out last year because we just thought maybe we would just buy them there, but they were sold out quick.
Right, because they couldn't. They could have, but they decided not to rent out the entire paddle boat this past year.
Last year, yeah.
Because they didn't think they were going to be able to fill it up. But based on, I talked to Doug myself, and at the conference he said it turned out better than he ever could have dreamed, and he said he's going to do everything he can to try to rent out the entire steamboat because he thinks he has no problem filling it up. So, but still, buy your tickets in advance because it can fill up.
And it will help him too to know that he's got it sold out.
Got it sold out. It'd be good, but it could actually sell out because you can only legally fit so many people on the boat for them to allow the thing to go down the river.
Hopefully it'll be a cooler August this year.
Right. So spots are limited on that.
It was pretty hot. I was outside doing the face painting and balloons, so it was pretty hot. But everybody's inside air-conditioned theater. It's beautiful inside there. Mm-hmm. But they do have some really nice vendors there. Mm-hmm. Not as many as the Homesteaders of America, but they still had a nice...
That was the first year they did it.
Yes, very first year.
So I would imagine they might even have more vendors this year.
Oh, Stacy was really big. She was really happy that we volunteered to go last year. But she is really big on entertaining the children. And she took a parachute with all the little handles and took all the children outside, and she played with the parachute with them and with a ball on it and bouncing it all up, and they played little games and did little crafts. I do believe crafts. I can't remember that part or not. But she really did want to include the children. It was really, really sweet. It was really nice.
I'd say that's probably what I liked about the event the most, is a really family-oriented event.
Yes.
So we always appreciate that. We appreciate family-oriented events. So we really did like that a lot.
Hey, Kilted Gardner. He's from Virginia.
All right.
It's usually me that comes to your live streams.
All right. We see the Hoppy Sabbath Homestead is here.
Hello. If we haven't said hi to anyone, sometimes it's hard to catch you guys, but welcome to everyone. Thank you all, and I see a lot of you are new subscribers, so thank you for coming to the live stream. We are so thankful.
So I guess the ones we're planning on going to is we're wanting to go to the seed swap, and the seed swap is, I think, well, you just go to Stiver's Homestead.
Yes, go to Stiver's.
Stiver's Homestead will give you all the details on that. I'm liable to get the details wrong. I got so many things going around my head sometimes. But I believe it's April 14th, and it is Frankfort, Kentucky, and it's at a library. So those are the things I remember. And it's a seed swap, so if you have seeds, bring them so we can maybe trade them and everything. If you don't have seeds, don't let that keep you from coming. Because there most likely are going to be more seeds than what people can trade anyway. So there's going to be a lot of seeds there. So if you do have them, please bring them. But if you don't have any seeds, well, come anyway.
Karen Cantrell, she filled in the blank. April 14th in Frankfort.
Yeah, Frankfort, Kentucky.
Yep.
All right.
And it is at the library?
It's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. That's what Samson...
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah, Samson Farm said that, so that's good.
Samson Farm, are you going to be there? That'd be great to get to see you, too.
Yeah. So we're going to the seed swap. Then the next thing on the radar, I think, is Baker Creek for us.
Yeah, we'd like to go to Baker Creek.
We are still not concrete on going to Baker Creek, but we really want to go. For us, the hard part is getting there and having a place to stay. That's the biggest part for us. Because once you get there, it's only $5. It's only $5 to get in. So
for Baker's Creek?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's what I saw on their website. It said $5. I'm like, wow, really? Okay. That's pretty good. So I thought that was really reasonable, unless I read it wrong. So
if we're wrong, if someone knows, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know if we're wrong. But I thought it said $5. So what's really going to cost us the most is the gasoline and place to stay and someone to watch our dog. So that costs us some money too.
Yeah, crazy Jasper.
Yeah. So we can't take him with us, so we have to have someone watching him.
Oh.
So.
Samson Farm said he's helping Andy. Andy, he had surgery or.
Well, let him, if he wants to explain that, he can explain that. He might even have videos on his channel, possibly.
It's another YouTuber.
Yeah.
He's helping him.
Right. So, yeah, it's good.
That's
good he's doing that.
That's very nice. That's very nice.
But yeah, so we're doing hopefully Baker's Creek, and I believe that we're definitely going to go to the Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference.
That's a mouthful.
In Cookeville, Tennessee. I definitely wanted to go down and get that, and then the Homesteaders of America Conference is that's in October, right?
Yes.
In Front Royal, Virginia.
Yeah,
and
you skipped Doug and Stacy's in August.
Oh yeah, Doug and Stacy's is in August, so that's the Homesteaders Life. So we're going to a lot of conferences.
Woo!
We're going to well, they're not all conferences. They're I call them events.
Events.
So we'll call them Homesteaders events. So the Homesteaders events that we're going to is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. We're going to 5 events.
Tracy.
What?
You and that's his old accent.
5. All right.
Where he used to grow up, he had a thick accent.
Right.
When he was growing up, and then when he got into the military, he lost a lot of it. So every once in a while, when he wants to be funny, he'll drag it on out and make me laugh.
I can put my accent on every now and then. I can put it on. I can take it off. There you go. So it's like a hat. Okay. Although I'd have to admit that the accent, whenever I try to put on my accent, it's not as natural and free flowing as it was whenever I still had it. So I am having to kind of put that on. So yeah, so 5 events. That's really busy. And in the midst of all those events, we're going to be gardening, putting in our raised beds, doing rabbits and quail and chickens. And,
wow.
Yeah. So we'll have those things going on somehow, some way. We'll have to figure something out with that.
Oh.
So
I just realized.
Yeah, all these events. We have to juggle all that stuff around and figure out how it's all going to work. Now, I think that the chickens we're probably going to do is not layers. We'll probably just do meat birds. So I can just find a good 8 weeks in between one of these events and do a run of some Cornish cross and get them in the freezer
camp
and get them out of the way. As far as the quail, if we have to go to an event and we can't get anyone to take care of stuff for us, we will just put them all in freezer camp and start fresh when we get back. That's a good thing about quail. It only takes 6 weeks for quail to be laying eggs. That's outstanding. So you can put them in freezer camp and then come back and then put them right back into production. It's
Buy
not
more.
It's not that big of a deal on that. And also the same thing for the rabbits. If whatever reason we can't get anyone to watch our rabbits and our quail and or whatever else we got going on, then we may have to put them in a freezer camp as well.
The dog lady might. She does.
She wouldn't come to our house and do that.
You don't think? Okay.
You're gonna have her drive all the way to our house? That's about 35 minutes.
People paired.
We shouldn't be talking about this right now. Okay. So anyway, if we can't get no one to watch it, we will just kind of cut and run and then take care of it when we get back.
Yep.
So that's basically what we're planning on doing on that. So I'm really hoping we can get someone to watch our homestead for us.
That's what I'm hoping for.
But right now we literally know almost no one here. That's a whole other story we're not going to go into, but we'll see how it all turns out. All right, so we've only got a few more minutes. If you have any questions, now would be the time to run those through real quick. We got a little bit less than 5 minutes to 8 o'clock. We'd like to try to end on or around 8 o'clock, as we know that there are other live feeds going on. Mm-hmm. So we don't want anyone to miss out on those. And we don't want to go too much over. But if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask questions. Please put them in capital letters so we can easily see your questions.
And if you haven't hit the like button, we'd appreciate it if you could do that for us. Mm-hmm. That would help us out.
Yeah, anybody wants to like the live feed is welcome to like it. If you've been here this long, you should be liking it by now.
I hope so.
All right, so we see here the Conscious Living Homestead has a dog and just got quail. All right.
Good for you.
All right. Homebound, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you're only homebound until you decide to put all your quail in the freezer and go somewhere and then come back and hatch out some more. So to me, it's just if I have to do that, I can do that.
Samson Farm said you can get auto feeders and auto waterers.
Yeah, as long as those auto feeders and auto waterers can work for 3 or 4 days straight without supervision, we would consider that. But we don't like the idea of being in another state and some unforeseen thing happens and nobody's monitoring the situation and we come back and find a horror story when we get back. So we don't want to do that.
Someone asked if we have children. We have one daughter and she lives in another state. So she doesn't live close right now. Right.
Yeah, we like I said, we don't really have anyone that we're close with here anymore at the moment, which is another one of the reasons why it's going to be so easy for us to up and move whenever we're ready to do that. So it'd be easy for us to do that because there's really literally nothing holding us here other than waiting until we get to the next place.
Oh, he says he does it with his quail.
Does what?
The water and feeder.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if we'd probably do a couple test runs, and if I'm 100% sure that it's going to take care of itself and I don't have to do anything at all, and as long as it covers the time that I'm gone, then I would consider doing that.
Yeah, we could do test runs.
Right.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'd have to do a test run on it. But it would be the quail and the rabbits. Actually, I would say the rabbits is a bigger issue than the quail, because I think the quail is a lot more replaceable than the rabbits. I would think, because I was looking on eBay, and you can buy a bunch of eggs to hatch out for relatively cheap, and it doesn't cost much to get a bunch of quail going. It doesn't cost a whole lot to get that started. And rabbits, it can be a little pricey, because rabbits, to get the fryer rabbits, the young ones, you're looking about $15 a rabbit. So that could be a little costly to buy a whole new rabbitry. So
Karen Cantrell wants to know if recap our plans on moving when we move. I mean,
we're not going to go into too much detail because we don't have any details. That's basically it. We know that it's going to happen. We don't know when, and we don't know how. So, but we know it's going to happen.
The Lord is leading.
So right now we are going through these stepping stones, and maybe I'll do a video on that. I thought that in the past that I would do a video on that by now, but I haven't. You got to do different strategies, and it's going to be different in everybody's context and everybody's situation. But you got to strategize on what your next step is going to be. And sometimes you find a place that you're going to hold down at, and that's going to be your homestead. And your strategy is built around how do I build up my homestead? How do I get each section of the homestead up and running? But we are not there yet. Right now, we are trying to get to that place. So right now, our strategy is, what do we do to financially get us prepared to get the homestead that we really want? So that's the stage that we are in. So, all right. And
that's fine.
Let's see. And what did I do in the military? Okay, I was in the United States Marine Corps, and I was in the aviation field. So I was a aviation ground support equipment technician, and it was a 6072 is my MOS. And basically, I worked on all the supporting equipment for the aircraft. I worked on the hydraulic generators, the electric generators, the turbine compressors used to start up the aircraft, everything. Transmission stands, engine stands, jump rigging. They had people that would go up in a helicopter, and they'd use this jump rigging setup on the back of the helicopter, and they put this rope down the... it's actually called spy rigging. Not jump rigging, spy rigging. And they put this rope, it's an actual rope that goes down, and 5 people is connected to this rope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those 5 people work together as a team, as a squad team, and they fly around dangling from this helicopter. Well, the contraption that they're using to hang from, I was responsible for making sure that was up and running and ship shape. And so there were a lot of aspects to my job where human life was in the balance, literally. And also I maintained those big, I don't know, you might see them on TV sometimes when people are putting out forest fires, but those really big buckets that people with helicopters, they go scoop up water out of the lake, and then they take it up above some burning trees, and they release the water from this bucket down onto the burning trees to put the fire out. I was responsible for taking care of those buckets. So I was responsible for a lot of different things. I was a non-commissioned officer in charge, NCOIC, and actually I was an E4, which was a corporal, but my job position was for not an E4, but it was for an E6, which would have been a see, E5, no, E7, sorry. E7, gunnery sergeant. So I was actually gunnery sergeant position as a corporal. So I had a lot of authority, actually. I actually had sergeants, people who outranked me in rank. They were a sergeant, but because of my job description, I outranked them, and I got to tell them what to do.
Okay, I got 2 questions for me. They want to know my background. And what do you mean by my background? Like where I'm from, or what I do, or I have done, and the other one says where am I from? I'm from the Steubenville, Ohio area, and we're living now in Kentucky. I grew up in a little town called Mingo Junction, and it's right along the Ohio River between Ohio and West Virginia in the Ohio Valley, the upper panhandle of West Virginia. And about an hour from Pittsburgh and about a half an hour from Wheeling, West Virginia. So I grew up there most of my life. And
She used to be a prepper.
I used to be a prepper a long time ago. I used to prep. And I used to have a 1-acre homestead. I used to raise my own meat rabbits. And that was a very short time period. But I did raise my own meat rabbits and butchered them out. And raised my own meat chickens and laying hens, and I had a 60 by 60 garden. I had dairy goats, little miniature Nubians. Gave me about half a gallon of milk a day. And
don't forget to tell them that you were clowning around with your own little small business. She was clowning around with it a little bit.
I was a clown. For about...
But it was a small business, right? It's a small business where she gets to clown around.
I got paid to clown around.
Right.
I got paid. People would tell me, quit clowning around. I said, I get paid to. How about you? So, but I was a clown jelly bean for about...
What, 18 years?
18 years. Mm-hmm. I did birthday parties with balloons and balloon animal creations and face painting and... silly clown shows and stage shows, and I used to entertain in schools and birthday parties and big events, big conferences and
fairs.
Conventions and fairs, and anywhere where someone thinks they thought they needed children entertainment. I even did a wedding once where they had me in a back room so that the children would have somewhere to go, and they weren't. I guess they wanted some space, so the kids didn't go crazy. So I was off in a back room, and the kids got to go back there and do balloons and everything. So I did do one wedding. It was kind of interesting.
Also, you were also a, I think, 18th century reenactor.
I don't even remember all these things. Oh, wow. Yes, I used to do 18th century reenacting. I used to cook over fires and do demonstrations on... give talks at libraries on 18th century cooking. I used to have stays and all the outfit that they would have. Mm-hmm. I collect a lot of cookbooks from the 1830s, 40s, 1830s.
Isn't that what those are?
No, they're in the...
Oh, those are older hymnals. Is that what those are?
Yeah, those are hymnals.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in their own little lockbox.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
But and I collect antique cookbooks, and I like to break the recipes apart and use their measurements were totally different than ours, and so I would break down the recipes, translate them into our modern measurements, and then make them. And it was actually very fun.
It's like a taste from the past, literally.
Yeah,
because you get to basically eat what they were eating hundreds of years ago, which is pretty neat.
I stayed very correct to how they would have measured it, but I would just translate it over. And so, yeah, that's what I liked about it. I used to hold the cookbooks and think, some woman 150, 160 years ago held this book and cooked for her family. And I liked that. I thought it was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah. So every once in a while, I'll break one out and translate a recipe.
Well, we have kind of gone over. It is now about 10 minutes after 8. So we're going to go ahead and call it quits. We want to thank everyone for coming out. It seems
Yes.
like these hours, it's like an hour goes by like that.
We had nothing to talk about. Woo!
Yeah, we came to this live with nothing to talk about, and here we go. So, wow, it goes by quick. So, yeah, it's all over. So, I want to thank you all for coming. And, yeah, if you can make it any one of those events that we mentioned, check those out.
Yes, and please come say hello to us.
Yeah, if you come to one of those events, come say hi, and we'll talk with you.
Yes.
So, it'll be good. And we made it over 500. So, woohoo!
Woohoo!
And we're not going to give anything away yet on that, but we are probably going to give away something when we hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Whenever we reach 1,000, we are going to do a giveaway at that time.
Well, thank you
So,
for that.
looking forward to that.
Thank you for the hit and run.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming out, and good night.